is that time that I share pieces of me with you. I would like to talk about something I've talked about in the past, and that is electromagnetic energy. The reason why I want to talk about this now is because I saw a Spider-Man trailer yesterday, and they have a villain in the movie whose name is Electro. Now, I don't follow Spider-Man. I'm not much of a Spider-Man fan. I don't know a lot about the history of Spider-Man, but let me tell you, when I saw that trailer and I saw Electro in his transformed state, the first thing I thought was, my goodness, that's exactly how the astral or energy body looks in its purest form. Now, those of us who have been watching my work for a while, you know that I have described what the astral body looked like. As a matter of fact, I even did a really cheap reenactment like this one right here. This really cheap reenactment trying to give a visual as to what the astral body looked like from my perspective at the time. And of course, I don't have millions of dollars to recreate and give the effect that someone who has a budget to make a epic film such as Spider-Man has. But if you can take this image right here and look at the trailer to Spider-Man, look at the Electro character, look at how the light particles are pulsating and moving and shifting around through his aluminum form. Apply that to this vision or this visual right here, and you will get a much clearer visual or idea of what I was attempting to convey in this particular video. And even when I've talked about or described what the astral body looks like and how we become breath when we go into our pure energy form, I described there's a pulsation of light moving around you. It's almost like you can see the breath. It's almost like that light and that white mist and fog that moves around with it is the breath. And you can see it moving through you. You can feel it moving through you. Now, where am I going with this? Again, electromagnetic energy. I've stated in videos past that we are electromagnetic beings in our purest form. We are electric, hence electro. Magnetic, meaning we attract. And what drives attraction? Of course, we know there's a biological attraction, but how many of us talk about the spiritual, metaphysical, the attraction that we cannot see with the naked eye, those mechanics that occur with us and around us that is vibrating beyond what we can see with the physical eyes? Much of us, or many of us, are operating on biological magnetics on a conscious level, meaning that we know if we look at something, we know we are attracted to it. Sometimes we can explain why we are attracted to the person, but often when we can't explain it, we can measure it. We'll say, oh, I'm attracted. They have a very handsome face, or I love their body. I love the personality. But what about those situations where we see ourselves or find ourselves being attracted to people and the reasons are not so obvious? And what about the many times when we see a couple together and for the life of us, we can't possibly see what they have in common, what was magnetically happening between those two to make that relationship come together, to make that union come together? As I've said time and time again, we get caught up in the physical. We define what should be or what is by what we see, but the physical form can be misleading and very deceiving. We don't see, or we cannot see, the magnetics behind what draws people to one another. When people say things like, well, people shouldn't be together because they are a different race or different this or different that, on a physical level, there may be some merit in that. But again, physicality is a part of the illusion. Physicality is marred with extreme limitations. You do not know the magnetics of each of those persons who have found an attraction and a pairing there. The magnetics may be in perfect balance and in perfect harmony with one another, because as electrical beings, we don't have the thought form, or the what's the word I'm looking for? We're not thinking about matching the physical with the magnetics all the time. As a matter of fact, that's a part of the journey and the experience. We like to push the envelope. That's the nature of creator beings. We like to push the envelope. We like to push the boundaries of physical limitations, because this is how we evolve. If you don't have people who are brave enough to incarnate and come into this world and push boundaries and challenge social norms, we will still be in the dark ages. And so I see that to this day we have a lot of people resisting a lot of changes that on a physical, or from a physical perspective, it seems crazy and barbaric and evil and wicked. But again, when we open our mind's eye, we look at the magnetics that are at play, it is happening in divine order. It is all a part of the balancing act of this planet. There's a reason why the world is predominantly made of water. There's a reason why we are majority water. We are perfect conduits of electricity, of electromagnetic energy. Again, this is our nature. This is our inherent right. Now, I'm going to go back to attraction, because another reason why I decided to do this video is because I was talking to a friend of mine, and I've had this discussion at different times with different people over the years. And what is often expressed is, how and why is it that some people tend to systematically attract the kind of men and women that those of us who feel like we have all the character and traits to attract, like that really good looking woman, or that really good looking guy, or that very well-to-do woman or female, and we look at what many of these people tend to be attracted to, and we see that as a deficit in us, because we're wondering what is wrong with us. And this is particularly true with women. What is wrong with me? Why am I having such a difficult time attracting that man, or the kind of men that I find to be the most attractive? Same thing with the guys. Why do I continuously find myself not attracting what I find attractive? Again, we have to go back to magnetics. There's a biological magnetics that are going on. You have spiritual magnetics going on. You have the mental magnetics going on. You have the metaphysical magnetics going on. And honestly, most of us are detached, or don't quite have an understanding or understanding, ultrastanding or overstanding of how these magnetics are operating around us. So in a situation that I just described, many of us, I've found the pattern to be that those who feel and think this way are operating more from mental magnetics, whereas those who are really driven and wired to operate to their biological magnetics, there won't be a match in frequency. Because again, for a magnetic to match up, align, and be magnetized to one another, they have to match in frequency, level of awareness, level of consciousness. So for those of us who are very mental, in a world where most of us are operating based off of what we see, it's going to be more challenging to attract someone who is going to synchronize and match that mental frequency, because they're not on a mental frequency magnetic range within the time-space continuum. You are, on the other hand. So when you're walking down the street and you're with, and this has happened, I'm going to describe, I have someone, and I'm not going to say the name, someone who's very lustful, very sexual. and by all outward appearance, just average. But I'm telling you, time and time and time again, when this person is in a crowd and we are out and about, this person continuously get the most attention. Not because they're so attractive and so have such a physically attractive, that is, and have such a great personality and have more money, more successful than those within the circle. It is because this person is emitting and is one with the magnetics that governs lust and sex and sexuality. So within the circle and the environment that we roam within, this person is going to be most noticed or most magnetically drawn to by those around us, because most of them have been or are very sexual. We know we live in a very hypersexual, unhealthy hypersexual society. So this is why they say sex sells. Again, I still say a lot of that is social conditioning, but sex sells. People, the videos and the content on the internet that does the best, records, movies, those that have highly sexual content and, you know, and content that appeals to the lower self, the lustful, magnetic of the lower self, tend to do better. Why? Because the majority of society is more magnetically yoked, for lack of a better word, to this particular magnetic wave. You see where I'm going with this? So I don't want you fellas and young ladies and women, elders, whomever, to think for 1 second that because you are mental and you're having a difficult time attracting someone that you will find attractive more from a physical, more from a mental perspective and not so much the physical, because you're having a difficult time, that something is inherently wrong with you. This is not the case. Your magnetic wave, your magnetics is simply wired in a way where right now we don't have enough people who have awakened and who are developed in the mental lanes to find people who are operating in the magnetics mutually attracted or mutually attractive. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share as it relates to electromagnetics and magnetic energy and the astral body and all that good stuff. Check out the link below and look at the trailer for those of us who have not seen the trailer of Spider-Man, and look at Electro in his transformed state, and you will see exactly what I've been describing and what I've tried to reenact as to how the astral body or energy body looks in its purest form. And in closing, I posted this on Facebook. Some of you have already seen it, but I'm going to share it here with the greater community. Someone had told me, the first time I heard this was like 3 years ago, someone told me that they found a photo of what they call the Olmec headstones. And for those of you who are not aware of what it is, for sake of the video, I'm not going to explain who and what the Olmecs are. There's controversy even with that, but I digress. I'm going to put the link that leads to information about the Olmecs based on what astronomers have presented and different points of views or school of thought. But this particular statue was a focus of conversation for the very first time like 3 years ago. A relative of mine told me that one of these headstones looked exactly like me. Now when I saw it, I saw the resemblance. The first thing I thought was, yes, this looks like this could be my father or an older version of me or a relative, someone in my family. So didn't think much about it, but what happened at different times later, different people were saying the same thing. So yesterday I decided to look for a photo of myself in the closest angle to the photo of the Olmec headstone and do a side-by-side and post it online to get general feedback and get you guys' opinion, and most of you agree that the Olmec headstone does in fact look like me. So I'm sharing it with the greater community. You guys tell me what you think. I'm going to close it out here. As always, you guys are loved beyond measure, whether anyone tells you this or you feel this or not, because the very foundation, nature to which you in your purest state was created in love, unconditional love. Continue to question, learn, and grow. The ultimate illumination will always come from within, and last but not least, happy travels.